So our lesson for today is the second stage of cultural imperialism under the global media culture. Okay, so before we start with our lesson, what is cultural imperialism? So, it is the dominance of one culture over others. Early research emphasized the dominance of Western media like Hollywood films and American TV in shaping global culture. So cultural imperialism has long been a dominant framework in media and communication studies, analyzing how powerful nations influence and shape the culture of less dominant ones. Traditionally, this theory focused on the flow of media and cultural products such as television programs, films, and advertisements from Western nations, particularly the United States, to the rest of the world. However, recent research has shifted its emphasis towards the commercialization of culture, highlighting the role of transnational corporations and capital flows rather than nation-states and media flows. This transition marks a redirection of emphasis rather than a complete paradigm shift. The shift in focus from nation-states to transnational corporations reflect broader changes in global economic and communication structures. While governments still play a significant role in shaping media policies and regulations, corporations such as Google, Facebook, Netflix, and Disney now wield enormous influence over global communication. These companies are not just content distributors. They shape cultural norms, political discourse, and economic activities worldwide. The rise of digital platforms has made it increasingly difficult to separate media flows from capital flows, as these corporations profit from advertising, data collection, and consumer engagement while simultaneously influencing cultural narratives. One of the challenges in contemporary cultural imperialism research is distinguishing between the power of transnational corporations and that of nation-states. Governments and corporations often work together to expand their influence, making it difficult to determine where economic power ends and cultural influence begins. Globalization suggests a more mutual and interconnected exchange of culture, in which different regions influence each other rather than one dominant force shaping the rest. However, this perspective sometimes downplays the extent to which cultural and economic power remains concentrated in certain parts of the world. While globalization describes the mechanism of cultural exchange, cultural imperialism provides a critical lens for understanding who holds power in these exchanges. So these are the example of ongoing cultural imperialism. For example, the dominance of English as the global language of business, media, and digital communication is not merely a natural outcome of globalization. It is a direct result of historical cultural imperialism. Likewise, Western entertainment industries continue to shape global pop cultures, even as regional industries such as Bollywood and K-pop gain international recognition. The rise of streaming services like Netflix and Disney Plus further reinforces Western influence by making Hollywood contents more accessible worldwide, while simultaneously adapting local contents to fit global market demands. These examples illustrate that power imbalances in cultural exchange persist, even if they are now mediated through transnational corporation rather than direct state control. Moreover, the global spread of American social media platforms has reshaped communication habits, political activisms, and consumer behavior. While these platforms allow for greater participation and the spread of diverse voices, they are still structured around Western norms and business models. Algorithms, advertising strategies, and platform policies often prioritize content that aligns with the economic and cultural interests of the corporations that own them. As a result, local cultures must adapt to these dominant digital infrastructures, sometimes resisting and reshaping them in unique ways. In conclusion, cultural imperialism has evolved to reflect the changing nature of global communication, but its core concerns remain highly relevant. And that is our lesson for today, and see you guys again next week. Thank you.